name's Rob Langtree. I'm the Global Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer for AWI Woolmark. I think over the period up until about 2010, the wool industry had been pretty much out of touch with the marketing side of its activity. There was a period of about a decade there where we really weren't engaging with the trade or with consumers and telling them about wool. The result of that being that we lost a significant amount of market share. So in 2010, towards September, we started a series of 3 campaigns that we run globally. Those campaigns kicked off and immediately saw a bit of a bump in the price of wool. I guess the campaigns have taken about 3 years to build momentum, but each one of them is doing the job we set out to do 3 years ago. The campaigns are the International Woolmark Prize, which is really designed to connect young and emerging designers with wool early on in their careers and give them a benefit in terms of access to our network of retailers and to the supply and understanding of wool.
Love what you've done at London Collections, man, with the Woolmark Prize, Emerging Talents. Talk us about your strategy with that.
So the Woolmark Prize and Emerging Talents, what we recognise is that wool is fairly critical to menswear. London Collection Men's is a great showcase for young talent coming through. We restarted the Woolmark Prize after a very long hiatus in 2010, but it had been up until this year focused on women's wear. What we've now introduced is a stream of menswear, and that's really designed to draw focus into what is a pretty dynamic segment of the market at the moment, which is that young contemporary menswear sort of area. Woolmark Prize per se, we will continue to support. The final next year is we're waiting to hear about that. It'll be probably Milan or London, we're not sure.
Wow.
But that program we will continue through. The Woolmark Prize for Women, the final is on in Beijing in about 3 weeks, and we've got an extremely illustrious group of judges on that.
Yes.
And the role of the judges is both to mentor and help the young talent, but also to give us an opportunity to talk to them about wool. So people like Victoria Beckham, who's been involved a couple of times now, it's great to have her along, both because she's inspirational to these young people, but also because I think she learns and in turn passes on knowledge about wool. So it's a very good platform for us to build the profile of wool in the more dynamic, edgy side of the market. The campaign for wool, which is our second campaign, is a little more mainstream. It's co-funded by a number of countries, and I guess Woolmark is the largest funder of the campaign for wool. But the credibility of His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales talking about the ecological benefits of wool, which is natural, biodegradable, renewable, has got us a lot of traction and interest. We do it by essentially hosting a stunt or an event in a key market or a number of key markets every year that leads into a week of promotion with retailers, Wool Week. And we've expanded that program to, I think this year, about 13 markets.
Wow.
So it's a very good event leveraged into PR, leveraged into retail promotion.
I mean, MenStyleFashion, we're online, we've grown, we came out of nowhere in 2 years. It's social media. That's how strong we are. I'm noticing the Woolmark company, you're very active on social media. So has that helped grow, re-establish the brand?
Social media has been absolutely critical. One of the benefits of coming into the marketing of wool reasonably late on was we didn't have a lot of legacy, which means we weren't really carrying the weight of commitments to more traditional media. So we started out with a campaign 4 years ago now with really intending to do a 60-40 split digital traditional. And progressively that 60%'s increased, probably to the tune this coming year of about 80%.
Right.
And social media for us has been very good. It's taken a little while, but if you take the Woolmark followers page now, it's close to 1 million. And then if you add in behind that, our partner brands and what they do with the content we produce, yes, it's absolutely vital to where we're going. It's a critical part of the campaign for wool. And the third campaign, which is No Finer Feeling, it's an absolutely even more critical part of that, because that's about working with partner brands, with 81 partners globally.
Yep.
The digital and social reach of those brands is by far and away greater than we could ever reach ourselves. So what we find is that quite often our role is to simply provide them with content that they'll then share with their sort of particular, social media base,
Yes.
which is interesting for us because as an ingredient brand, it's quite difficult for us. No one goes into a shop and says, "Can I have 1.5 kilos of wool?" They go and buy, a decent sort of solid weight British suit, woven out of Australian wool. And the suit maker and the retailer that carries it is probably the most direct link to the consumer, whether that happens to be a digital retailer, an e-tailer, or whether that happens to be a bricks and mortar shop. So those partnerships through the No Finer Feeling campaign are absolutely critical. We've had great success in the last 12 months with a very strong relationship with Paul Smith.
Yes.
He did really well at London Collection Men's.
Yep.
Product that he showcased there was a travel suit, which was a high twist, particularly well-engineered wool suit that was lightweight, pretty much uncrushable, and really played to the benefits of wool in that sort of stylish international target market that we're after.
It seems that you're quite dominant on the menswear, the men's market. And would that be fair to say, and why?
I think what we've seen is a more immediate opportunity to both retain the volume we have and even build market share in menswear.
You've also using Nick Wooster a lot, I've noticed. Why have you chosen Nick as, it seems like, okay, you've got Paul Smith, but you've got Nick sort of campaigning awareness for wool. Why have you chosen him?
Well, he's a slightly different focus for it because he's a bit of a style leader, I guess.
Yeah.
One of the areas that we need to catch up on is how wool's presented in that contemporary market.
Right.
Typically, a consumer, even at the top end of the market, will think wool, two-piece suit, three-piece suit, more traditional sort of formats. What Nick represents is a way to talk to designers about slightly more modern profiles, silhouettes,
Right. Yeah.
cut-off battle jackets,
Yep.
multiple textures, things like that. With some of the other designers, we've done some work in advertorials with some of the key brands like Armani, Burberry, Dior, those brands. They tend to be in that sort of very high-end couture market. Paul Smith tends to be in that sort of bridging, it's a little bit further down, but more popular market that's an emerging contemporary design.
Yeah.
And Nick really gives us sort of that niche there where we're looking at a younger target audience that perhaps is a little more experimental in what they want to wear.
Yeah, no, I agree. What's your message to young designers that it's really hard to establish themselves? Let's talk about menswear, really. Is it about fast fashion, or should they start sort of reaching out for more quality? And what's your message to these designers trying to compete against the big guys, really?
Look, it's really hard to forecast what the future might be for a young designer, but I know this. I know that from the planet's point of view, fast fashion is something that's not sustainable for the long term. It's also something that a young designer, especially someone who's working in an advanced market, say like the UK, they can't compete with someone who can produce the volumes that are produced out of lower workers' costs, if you like.
Yeah.
For me, it's about quality. Every piece of research that we have, which ranges from the broad-scale trend monitors to specific tracking studies we do, say that there is a significant portion of the market that is prepared to pay for quality.
Yes.
That proportion of the market may not be changing, but it's a very significant number of people, and it allows designers the margin structures to be able to actually build the sort of products that represent their brand most accurately. There's always the temptation to do a core range and then perhaps reduce it down and shove it in Kmart. That's fine if you understand that the role of those sort of collections is really to build notoriety more than anything else.
Right.
But it's not sustainable business. You don't see the Stella McCarthy's continually relying on high street or mass merchandisers to build their brand. They have brand stories they've already built, but those brand stories are based on the integrity of their own design vision. And then they may at various times be promoted through different retail channels. And retail channels are very diverse these days. But my view would be, and my advice to a young designer would be, focus on quality. And the second thing is, that's a common piece of advice that a lot of our judging panel give to International Mark Prize winners, is focus on your brand and your story. Understand what your vision is, identify that story, and don't change the story for anyone.